Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott and I'm the Emperor of Stomaria. Today I want to discuss why I was right. So as most people watching this will already know, we took the decision in December 2022 to stop referring to Stomaria as a micronation in order to put distance between ourselves and what can be loosely defined as the micronational community. But the truth is, as has been made clear many times before, since our foundation in June 2019, we have always sought to keep the micronational community at arm's length because there were far too many negative associations with micronationalism to fully embrace it. And this is something that I've always been fully aware of. And when you've witnessed, as we have, the rotating door of micronations with lifespans measuring in the weeks, that all engage in the same sorts of activities time and time again, it does strike me as odd that our position was somehow controversial. No, I didn't want to associate with those that advocated political extremism, like fascism or communism. No, I didn't want to travel across continents in order to meet with other micronations that were satirical or single issue in nature and had nothing in common with us. No, I didn't want to engage in war or hostilities or investigations or embargoes or whatever else against some random micronation. No, I didn't want to join military alliances or some pointless micronational organization that was like the UN but for micronations. No, I didn't obsess over collecting or handing out titles and medals. No, I didn't believe that claiming uninhabited or inhospitable landmasses, fictional planets, Minecraft servers, public parks, towns, cities, or continents had any merit. No, I didn't believe that printing out bits of coloured paper and calling it money was at all useful as a medium of exchange. No, I didn't believe that all micronations were as equally valid as one another and deserving of respect. And on it goes. Now, to most normal people, none of these positions seem the least bit controversial. But the problem is that micronationalists and micronations consider a lot of these activities to be perfectly acceptable. And as such, what we have to say about them is considered sacrilege by such people. And this really culminated in September 2022, when after being invited to attend MicroCon by one of the organisers and having already received numerous messages from people asking if we were going to attend, I decided to publish a video to outline my reasons as to why I wasn't going to go. In short, my rationale for not attending MicroCon is because it simply wouldn't advance the interests of Stomaria. And the only real benefit of attending MicroCon would be for publicity. However, I did say in this video that that would be incredibly disingenuous, so I didn't attend solely for that reason. Though, ironically enough, our video about not attending MicroCon 2023 is one of the most popular videos about MicroCon 2023, so we probably got more publicity by refusing an invitation than we would have by actually attending. And this video had the kind of fallout that you would expect from the micronational community, as it consists of many bored individuals and very hypersensitive individuals. And I'm not talking about the 11-year-olds that have declared war on Stomaria or whatever else as they normally do. This extended to the leaders of Westarctica, Ladonia, Slowjamastan, Molossia, Ruritania, Aerica, and many more. That said, there were others that supported our position, and Stomaria was beginning to gain in prominence as an entity that was challenging the established norms within that community. And this is one of the reasons that the upper echelons of the micronational community saw fit to mock, belittle, and even lie about Stomaria. And it was only a few months after this video was released that we finally took the decision that if we were going to advance beyond micronationalism and the micronational community, we needed to break free from it, because we still had one foot stuck in the cesspit of micronationalism, and this was not doing us any favours. And so in December 2022, we decided to abandon the term micronation to define Stomaria. Others may define Stomaria as a micronation, they're welcome to do so, but we do not define Stomaria as a micronation because we refuse to be associated with the micronational community. And beyond that, we simply stopped posting in micronational groups, subreddits, forums, servers, whatever else, because that was our last link to the micronational community, even by that point. Of course, as you might expect, many micronations and micronationalists celebrated Stomaria's withdrawal from the community. Many of them don't exist now, of course, but still, there was a sense of jubilation in some circles. And there was some predictions that Stomaria would simply come running back to the fold with our tail between our legs, or that it would simply dissolve, go inactive, go defunct, or whatever else. But instead, something else happened. Stomaria achieved more. Stomaria became better known than it ever had before in its short history, and we established ourselves as a genuine alternative, not simply to the traditional established nations of the world, but an alternative to micronationalism. And over the last few years, we have had an endless tide of comments, messages, and emails from those that have expressed their support for and gratitude to Stomaria for helping them on their own journey in building a nation in the modern world. And this has become ever more common from those who previously attacked Stomaria in times past for our stance on micronationalism, but have now come around to understand that what I've been talking about for over half a decade at this point was true. And I wanted to highlight one particular example of this, a very recent example in which we received an email from an entity called Mauritania, which went as far as to become a friend of the Empire, which, for those that don't know, is where nations that support Stomaria but don't yet qualify to become member states or allies can nevertheless have their support for Stomaria acknowledged on our website. So, this is an extract from their email in which they applied to become a friend of the Empire. Dear Emperor Andrew, you may not know me, but you responded to a message of mine in the past, and may have seen the very false and vile things which I had claimed about Stomaria. I was very, very young then, and when I saw your video about MicroCon, I naturally got angry, as I had seen the event as the best thing about having a micronation. But then, over the last year, I actually began to understand what you were saying, and I completely agree. I began to think like you did a long time ago after I witnessed the micronational community for myself. Even though I am still young in years, being only 15 years of age, I see so much immaturity in the way that almost all the micronational community today conducts themselves. Countless petty wars, unprofessionalism, no ambition, no actual drive to work towards their sovereignty. Their claims are empty and baseless, existing only in their heads. You have been a very big inspiration for me. Your seriousness and dedication to the vision and aspirations of the Empire of Stomaria have driven me to strive for sovereignty of my own kingdom and work towards providing a home for my own dedicated citizens. It is my firm belief that sovereignty does not come from recognition by other sovereign states, but that sovereignty comes from the will of the people, for it will always be the people that make the state endure. After all, what is a state without the people? Empty land. Stomaria is one of the best known nation building projects in the world, having a sustainable agricultural system, viable land and allies and member states who are willing to contribute. You are on the cusp of sovereignty, even if you are not there yet. Stomaria is marginalized constantly by other micronations because of its firm stance on independence and selective engagement, a move which in itself is the best thing it could have ever done. Imagine if Stomaria had remained in the wider micronational community. I do not believe it would have gotten where it is today. I, and most importantly Mauritania, support Stomaria because we see in Mauritania a friend and a mentor. You have helped us a lot without even knowing it. We are ever thankful. And this is the sort of sentiment that is echoed many, many times over from those that have always understood and supported our position, or have gradually come around to understanding and supporting our position. And that position is simple. If 99% of a community does not actually strive to do what it says on the tin, then it is not a community that's worth getting involved in. Because, as I've said many times over the years, micronationalism is not nation building. Micronationalism does not in any real way aspire to build a nation in the modern world. And as soon as you understand and accept that, everything else makes sense. If you want to learn more about Stomaria or play an active role in our development and expansion, visit our website at www.stomaria.com and find out what it means to be a Stomarian.